Once you've been diagnosed with prostate cancer, you fall into one of three categories. We're going to start off with the first category, the low risk category. Now, one of two things will happen if you're in the low risk category. They'll either do nothing about it because it's a slow growing cancer. Chances are you'll probably die of old age before you've died of the prostate cancer that's in you. Or they'll give you some low level treatment, but it all adds up to not having much to worry about if you're in the low risk category. Then you have the second category, which is the intermediate phase. This is the part that I fell into. Now, this is kind of 50-50. It all depends on how far along you are with your results. Now, most likely, from the feedback I get from listening to guys ring up on the radio station and stuff, the doctors would go for the drastic option of removing your prostate out altogether. Now, before you agree to that, I would push the doctors about the alternatives. A lot of them seem, this is what I call the small print. They tend to avoid talking about certain things, and like I said, you know, we're not going to avoid the small print here. Now, with the other option, they have the option where you could laser out the cancer. Now, I would advise to go for that if possible, because you will have less side effects. I'm going to talk about side effects shortly. The only snag with that, the only drawback with that is there's a higher chance of it coming back, but your quality of life after the operation would be better. So if possible, go for that, and push the doctor. Say, well, I've heard about the other option. You know, I would prefer that. What's the situation with me having that option? Talk to them about, push them on that one. Then you have obviously the drastic the drastic operation where they remove the prostate altogether. Now, before I go any further about that, I will be talking about the side effects in detail, so we'll just pause on that for a minute. And then the third category is the high risk. You may fall into the high risk. That's where chemo and radiotherapy would come into it. So so that's the diagnosis part of prostate cancer. Okay, let's talk about the side effects of having your prostate completely removed. Now, before I go into that, let's talk about the horrible catheter. And yes, the horrible catheter that I had to wear in my penis for 10 days. I'm not going to bullshit you. For me, that was 10 days of hell. I couldn't wait to get that thing out of my dick, but I had no choice. I had to wear it. There was just no way around that. I had no choice in the matter. Anyway, but forewarned is forearmed. Now, we talk about the waterworks, the pipeworks, the incontinence. Now, there's a high possibility that you will be incontinent. No, not every single man on the planet suffers the incontinence after he's had his prostate removed, but most men do. So let's look at it. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. So post-operation, I was going through about 5 pads per day at least, and I had to sleep with like nappy style pads. And when it got to about, say, 3 to 4 weeks, I noticed the leaking had started to slow down. I was only going through about 3 pads a day. Then we fast forward to, say, just about a month and a half. Then I got down to 1 pad a day. Now we fast forward to today, which is about just over 3 months since I've had the operation. I'm still wearing pads, but the difference is I no longer soak them. I no longer have to sleep with pads on, and I drip. And I drip. I don't gush. I drip. I sound like a woman now. Gush. Anyway, I drip on average between 3 to 4 times a day. A bad day for me would be like 7 times a day, but my dripping is very periodic. You know, once every few hours, I tend to drip. I could safely say that my incontinence situation has almost stopped. I'm nearing the end of it. one word of advice I would give you is, when you're going to go to the hospital to get your catheter taken out, I would stock up on some pads, because they will give you pads at hospital, but they're not very good. So I would invest in some pack. Well, I'd invest in one pack to be on the safe side. Okay.
Now, this is the brand of pads that I would strongly recommend. Due to their size, they're very practical and very comfortable, especially for situations like driving, walking down the road and sleeping. I find they don't bulge out your underwear so much. And if you're here in the UK, you can pick them up for as little as £3 to £4 in the outlets such as Boots, Asda and Tesco's.
Okay, it's time to focus on the second side effect from having your prostate completely removed. To me, this is the most important side effect because it'll have the most effect on a man's mental well-being and his libido. What am I talking about? I am talking about his manhood, his penis, his erection. We're talking about the erection section. Yes. So, as you already know, it's been about 3 months since I've had my operation. And for the time being, now I cannot give you a definitive time because it's going to vary for each man. So in the meantime, I cannot achieve an erection. Now eventually I will be fully healed. I will get my erection back. But in the meantime, the doctors will prescribe me some Viagra and whatever treatment that is available in the near future. So the $6 million question is, what are we going to do in the meantime? Because for some men, 3 months is an eternity. It's a lifetime. You know, some guys are quite busy, you know. Anyway, I have a solution that's currently working for me now, and it will work for you. However, sorry to do this to you guys. I'm sorry to leave you on a cliffhanger. I'm going to have to talk about the solution in part 3, which is sex life post-operation. I've put my artistic skills to some use because I am an artist as well, and I've done some illustration stroke drawings for you to follow, and I've taken some photographs, and we shall be discussing the solution to this problem in part 3. So I've discussed the second side effect, but don't despair if this is something you're going through or this is something that may be ahead of you. So there's light at the end of the tunnel, which I've already said. So see you in part 3. Thank you very much.